sugar. This here's Lenore Zan, and you're watching Fandoms.
And welcome to Fandoms, a show from every fan's point of view, which used to be what Mickey always said in the recording, which we've got to get that redone. With me tonight is Mickey and a whole slew of Whovians. And so we're going to go ahead and get started in just a moment after we do Pooja's picks. Will Wilkins is not with us this evening. He's doing dad stuff, which is perfectly fine. But we will definitely miss him, especially the fact that I think he was excited for this episode. But Mickey, how you doing? And thank you for hosting with me.
I'm doing great, man. When I heard you guys were talking about Doctor Who, I was like, I got a little knowledge in it. I don't know if I'm quite as knowledgeable as the guests we have tonight, but I'm definitely ready to throw my hat in the ring and talk some Who.
Oh yeah, and I really feel like this is the episode where I have no input whatsoever. I'm just kind of trying to wrangle the cats, and so they're going to everyone is going to try to convince me to start watching Doctor Who, which the most exposure I've had is being terrified from the classic Doctor Who episodes that I watched on public television to watching like clips of. I think the one I see the most is like the Vincent Van Gogh episode.
Ooh,
on TikTok. Like that's I see that over and over again. So I've at least seen maybe 10 minutes of Doctor Who, but maybe tonight I will have to be obsessed with something other than comics, movies, and anime. But we'll see. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get into Pooja's picks.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another segment of Pooja's Picks. My name is Pooja and I'm here to bring you the latest in movie news. Let's take a look at all of my picks for the week. Justice Smith and David Alan Grier team up in the American Society of Magical Negroes, a satirical comedy film directed, written, and produced by Kobe Levy. The film centers around Aaron, a young man who signs up to be a part of a society of magical black people, each of whom aim to make the lives of white people easier and the world much more palatable to them. The film is intended to serve as a commentary on the way black characters are created to be supporting sidekicks that aid white characters, a critique that has existed for quite some time when it comes to film, books, and television. Having seen Cord Jefferson's American Fiction, which takes on a similarly relevant commentary, I'm definitely looking forward to this film. Jake Gyllenhaal stars in Prime Video's Roadhouse, a reimagining of the original 1989 film of the same name. The film focuses on Dalton, a former UFC fighter hired as a bouncer at a Florida Keys roadhouse that has been attracting an unwanted crowd. Fans of the original film may want to check this one out as it brings back the original character of Dalton, and this looks to be very action-packed, not just in the fight scenes, but also in its grander and much more explosive moments. Will you be watching this? Who are you gonna call? The ghost-busting family, the Spanglers. The family returns in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire with Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, and McKenna Grace reprising their roles. In this adventure, the Spanglers decide to go back to New York and team up with the original Ghostbusters as they develop new research in busting ghosts. However, everything changes when an artifact unleashes something evil that threatens to freeze the entire world. Will the Spanglers and the Ghostbusters be able to save the world once more? You'll just have to find out when the film hits theaters next week. Well, that's all that we have for this week. Be sure to tune in to the next episode of Fandoms for another segment of Pooja's Picks. Until then, let's get back to the show.
And there's a lot of people in this show. So along with Mickey and I, we've got a number of people. I'm going to go ahead and let everybody introduce themselves. We're going to start off with Jonathan Chow. Jonathan, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I am Jonathan Chu. I am also known as Marvelous Johnny on all my social media pages.
And I completely butchered your last name. I do apologize for that.
You are all good. It's supposed to be Chow, but the British butchered how to spell Dad's last name there. So
Okay, so I feel a little bit better about myself. Next, we've got David. David, go ahead and give us a little bit of rundown about you.
Hey, I am David. I am Xanatos1138 on all social media, mostly TikTok while it's still around. But I talk about Star Wars and Doctor Who and a whole bunch of pop culture stuff on there.
And then the most geographically close to me, my buddy Nico. We just spent some time together at AwesomeCon. Nico, tell us about yourself.
Hello, I'm Nico Skywalker on TikTok, Skywalking Nico on Instagram. I cosplay the Doctor. I love him so much. He's probably my favorite character in fiction.
And you're waiting for that sonic screwdriver to hit the.
I am. Yep. It'll complete the wall.
And then last but not least, contractually obligated to bring this person in last, Tom, off the cuff. Tom, come ahead and tell us about yourself.
Coming at you live and direct straight from a hotel room in Syracuse, New York. My name's Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. You can check me out every single Tuesday night on Nerd Initiative's Turn a Page. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for having me on this evening.
And you just got done with a panel today.
Nope, tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay.
Panels tomorrow, 11 a.m. right here on all the Nerd Initiative socials.
And if you don't know, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or even on Twitter, you also need to know that even though you're on all of those social platforms, if you go to nerdinitiative.com, you will be able to watch this and any other streaming show as it's aired. It's embedded in the actual website, and you'll want to make sure you check that out. The QR code on the upper left-hand side is going to be how you know about Nerd Initiative. It'll take you right to our site. And then also, I'm going to throw this up here too. If you want to be a part of our newsletter is coming out soon. Yes, thank you with the sonic screwdriver pointing. That will get you to our newsletter from last month, and we are going to be posting a newsletter for this month very soon. And it will be just how to keep in the know of everything that's going on with Nerd Initiative. A couple last minute things. If you are, wanting to help us in any way, the merch store is your way to help support us. You can get the embroidered hat like you see there, cups. There are also merchandise for Wrestling Night Live, Turn a Page, and all of the other things that Nerd Initiative is doing. And since Tom was so great about that, I'm going to throw this up here because he's already there. Go ahead and give Off the Cuff Tom a little bit of love and check him out.
Look at all that spatter.
And then
say, is that an
you can contact us. You give information if you have any questions or if there's any suggestions about what we can do more of or better. Oh, look at that.
That's so nice.
Omnitrix. That's awesome. My kid will love that. And then just so if you're interested in comic books, just remember New Comic Book Day every Wednesday. Tons of reviews from the amazing people, including from this guy right next to me, Mickey, is also doing reviews. And then also on Thursday nights and also right before and after any pay-per-views, if you are into professional wrestling, you'll want to check out Wrestling Night Live. I think that's the best way we can go with it. There's lots of things going on. And then also you'll want to check out, I'm just going to say this because they've got also a panel going on this week. Hops Geek News, they're doing a panel at GalaxyCon in Richmond, which I probably should physically be there, but I'm not because it's happening in my state. And it would be just another opportunity to hang out with Matt. And I will tell you guys, if you saw on social media, we were able to do the Expounding the MCU panel at AwesomeCon. Was so much fun. They gave us a really nice convention room. It was a lot better than last year. The projector actually worked for us this time because we were able to plug in our computer, and the crowd was good. I told them we were like one of the first. We were the first panel in that room when they first opened on the first day, and I was convinced we weren't going to get anybody, and we had over 50 people. So it was fantastic. But that's not what we're here for. We're 9 minutes into this thing. We need to get started. So guys, here is your challenge. I know very little about Doctor Who. You guys know a lot about it. And of course, Fandoms touches every type of fandom. So you guys get to go off on Doctor Who. Who would like to start?
Tom. Okay, we're doing Shoddy Not. Okay, then I guess David.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. All right. So I prefer, if you wanted to start off Doctor Who, you start off with the Ninth Doctor. That's how I started. And if you're like me, and Nico can attest to this, when I was watching the Ninth Doctor, I was like, man, this is so cheesy. What's going on? Like, I was the whole way, but by the end of the first season, I'm like, I love this. And I binged it for days afterwards until I was finished. It really hooks you by the end of that first season.
Okay.
All right.
I mean-
so
What?
I want to
me-
just say that.
let
I
me
want
go.
to say that this is hilarious that you guys are like struggling who what to say
You're so polite.
because I created a Discord group for those of you who are watching last night and just said, hey, this is a great place for you guys to post pictures. And it was like Tom was at work and he had to mute the channel because it was like Mickey came in and was like, I have 40 messages that are coming in. Like they weren't quiet last night, but now
Okay, so all right, I will put it out here. So, Tony, you're not familiar with Doctor Who. The best thing that I can say is it is a show that has been going for 60 years. It has a very long legacy that you don't have to be afraid of. You know, the best way to always get into Doctor Who is to start when the new Doctor starts, and you'll pick up stuff as you go. A lot of people say there's new Who versus old Who. Yes, that is a very true thing because there was that almost 20-year gap that we didn't have anything on TV, with the exception of the quote unquote American reboot that they tried to do. But thanks, Fox, yeah, screwed that one up too. At the end of the day, it is about a man who, a person, excuse me, I apologize, Jody. It is about a Time Lord who goes through and tries to right wrongs and do what we would perceive as morally right. There's a little bit of a gray area sometimes in the whole butterfly effect, but at the end of the day, it is about doing the right thing and looking at the big picture and realizing that you are a much smaller cog in the gear of the universe. And trust me, what you do still matters. That's how I see it.
That's
Yeah, because
honestly a
I'll be
great
honest
way
with
to
you. You
pitch
talk about
Doctor
the
Who.
classic stuff. The only Doctor Who I was ever exposed to when I was younger was the I think it was the classic Doctor Who. It felt like a side-scrolling. It was the one that had like the portal thing that was like the ending. And I don't know why, but it terrified me as a kid. I'm like, this is creepy. Like I don't understand this.
Like
And
Twilight
so
Zone.
like, and then of course you had them running through like these different the corridors, and all of a sudden there's this Dalek that was just kind of slowly creeping.
Before they could even go upstairs, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. But no, was it like Tom says, like the start of any Doctor is a good start, but honestly, like not only is like the start of a Doctor an excellent place to begin, honestly, whenever a new companion comes on as well, that is just as good of an opportunity, I think. So while yes, you know, you got your episode 1, series 1 Rose with the 9th Doctor, you could honestly also hop on around series 5 with the 11th if you really wanted to, right when the 11th Doctor or 10th Doctor regenerates at the 11th and then meets Amelia Pond for the first time.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
especially with 11, because 11 felt very network television. Like each
Yeah.
Doctor had a whole different spin on it.
Yeah, that was when they also got a brand new showrunner and everything. So like it very much felt like just a slight, easy little reset, almost like a brand new #1 in comics.
Okay. So whereas we have the issue with like, let's say the MCU where you have all of these different phases and people think that they have to go back and watch all these things, you can start with a new Doctor. And how often do we get new Doctors?
Usually every 3 seasons.
3 to 4.
Yeah.
3 to 4
standard so
seasons.
far,
Late
Who.
with Modern Who, it's usually been a maximum of 3 seasons total.
Okay. Now,
but
is
if
it
you go
normal
with
for a
Classic
Doctor to
Who-
come back like David Tennant did for this last little
Yeah,
stint?
very often, yeah. Even in Classic Who, you would still have multi-Doctor stories
yeah.
where other Doctors would
You
come
would
back.
have the multi-Doctor story in say 1 or 2 episodes, but to have a small through line with the character coming back and actually taking the role of the next
Yeah.
Doctor is a completely new take.
That's
Mhm.
unique
Okay.
to David Tennant.
Yeah.
Okay, so with a new Doctor or a new companion being a good place to come in, let me ask you guys, and this was not on our list of things to talk about, but I'm going to ask each one of you this: what resonated with you with the Doctor? Like, you know, what caused you to relate so much to that, whatever Doctor it was that was your favorite, or what got you started? Like, what made you really feel like this was something I wanted to be a part of?
I got it.
Yeah, go for it then, Tom.
For me, it was the fact that even though it was a sci-fi show,
Mhm.
every week was different. Yes, you still had the common tropes of, villain of the week or, problem of the week. And did my camera just turn off okay, just auto
It just
focus.
froze for a quick moment.
Hey, it's live.
Mhm.
Villain of the week or problem of the week, but the opportunity that you got with the Doctor being able to go anywhere in space and time, you never knew exactly what you're going to be. You could have one episode where you're in 16th century England, and then the next one you're in the middle of 1920s New York City.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I always enjoyed the fact of the opportunities that it gave to storytelling and, where are we going to be next?
So would you say, in a sense, if a person was a fan of Quantum Leap, Doctor
Yeah.
Who, okay, because I was a big fan of Quantum Leap,
Yeah.
way back when. So okay, you're appealing to me. Who else? What resonates with you about the Doctors?
I was gonna say, at least for me, here's the thing. Like I've seen a bit of classic Who. I've never seen a complete season, so I can't speak to the classic stuff. But when it comes to new Who, what I personally love is just those consequences. Because a lot of time when something bad happens, it sticks with the Doctor. You can see that trauma throughout, even later on when a new Doctor comes in. Sometimes it's subtle. It doesn't make you feel like you need to go back to understand it. But if you do see it, if you have seen it and you understand it, it hits so much harder. And just on top of that, like when you start off with the Doctor, he's pretty much grizzled, a little bit cynical. And as I kept watching, you see a little bit of that classic Doctor Who that I think is what a lot of the original fans pretty much loved about the character. And then just the happiness and joy that this character is able to inhabit when they're willing to put it out there. It's just such a breath of fresh air, especially in a current day of media where everything needs to be dark and gritty.
Okay.
I love how he'll make it happen. Like
Yeah.
when I'm going through Doctor Who and it's like, oh, there's no way. And the Doctor doesn't care if he has to take his thumbs, rub them together and light a fire. He'll figure it out and it'll work itself out. But sometimes it doesn't. And those like Johnny said, those sad moments where it's like, dang, the Doctor really didn't do it, and you can see the grief build up. And it's like onto new regenerations, or it's like, I'm going to just like abandon all that old life, old trauma, new stuff. Something reminds me immediately the same old man, even across all the different actors. And I love that through line, even through a show that has different actors playing the same character.
Yeah.
So with the Doctor, I think this will appeal to you, Tony, as well. What makes him really interesting to me is that he's one of the most complex superheroes like you could ever come across. Like there's no bounds to what the Doctor can do, and that is all these things he can do, all this technology he has, anywhere he can go, or I'm sorry, they can go. Yet the Doctor is always concerned for like humans or the smallest creatures or those that can't help themselves or something that would seem insignificant to anyone else. The Doctor, is interested in those things. And the fact that he can or the Doctor can somehow relate to people like that or species like that, whatever it may be, and just have hope for them and instill hope in them. That's what was always really cool about the Doctor to me.
Okay, cool. Now we did come together and put some pictures into this. So what I want to do is we went over this before, so you guys kind of know what pictures are there. I hope I didn't butcher it up too much, but let's go ahead and just kind of go back and forth between them, and you guys can either explain like what was important about you adding this, because here basically for those of you watching or for you those of you who are listening, I'm going to try to make sure that these images are available for you. Of course, if you're listening to this, you can always go back and watch this show on YouTube, but at the same time, I'll try to make it available that you can find it elsewhere. I asked the guys to put together a compilation of a couple things. I had 3 questions basically for them. How does someone new get into Doctor Who? Which we kind of answered that already. Number 2 was kind of also answered just now by explaining the Doctor. I just asked it in a little bit of a different way. But then the third one was picking their favorite Doctor Who moment or season or whatever it was, something that resonated with them. And of course, they sent me lots of pictures. And we also realized that this show is going to have to go into multiple parts. Because when you talk about Doctor Who, you have to also talk about a lot of other things that are associated with it. And one of the things that was mentioned was the companions.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I know that there have been a lot of people that have left from Doctor Who as companions and have gone off to do big and great things. I can think of like John Barrowman, Billy Piper, Karen Gillan. And of course, the only reason why I even know those names is not because I watched the show, but because anytime I've gone to a convention, those have been the names that have been added. And of course, me being a Marvel fan, knowing Karen Gillan is absolutely, obvious. And John Barrowman, though a lot of people know him from Arrow, Doctor Who was the thing. And then there was also, I think, a spinoff.
Torchwood.
Oh, that sounds like it should be a third episode. We should.
I was also going to say we should do another episode solely on the villains as well, but we'll discuss that later.
Let me just say, like,
we're just making this job easy for
like Eccleston Brothers or whatever it is, and like there's superstition and stuff, which is not Doctor Who related, but there's so many other shows and stuff that I think resonate with people that we definitely have to do episodes on. And so we'll definitely be getting into that. But let's go ahead and go through this real quick. Not real quick. Let's take our time. Let's marinate. We're going pretty fast. So first up with Doctor Who, I was given these pictures, and I know this is the Louis Capaldi doctor.
Peter Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi. I'm sorry. I don't know which doctor this is.
Don't even ask about the numbering anymore. Honestly, it is so confusing.
Tony, this is the part where you be quiet.
Okay, hold on. Here, we make this simple. Go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so this collage here was mostly because of me, because the 12th Doctor, technically the 12th Doctor, the official numbering, is my personal favorite Doctor. Okay. When he first came out, a lot of people were a little bit off-put by him because he was back to being an old man. He wasn't the hot, young, brown-haired stud that he was before or in the last two incarnations. But Peter Capaldi embodies everything I love about the Doctor. He has the fun, whimsical aspects of it, but he can also play that madman with a box. He talks to himself a lot, and he has some of the hardest and probably the most powerful moments for me in Doctor Who, especially in the image shown here. We have Hellbent, and just punching that just, oh my god, I just thinking about it just makes my skin tingle. Oh my lord. But yeah, no, 12th Doctor embodies everything I love about Doctor Who. He has some of my favorite episodes. Flatline being like a classic version of a Doctor Who episode to me. You got your monsters, you got your Doctor in a weird predicament, you have your fun solutions and funny moments, but you also have those hard-hitting moments, especially. So yeah.
I love the 12th Doctor.
Yeah.
He does not get the love he deserves.
I completely agree, and I loved how his transition went through the whole season. Being the hard ass, and then finally realizing, who he was or what he was and what he could bring. And then you go from waistcoats to hoodies.
Yeah. And then eventually the Sonic sunglasses, which a lot of people hate.
I love them.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
they're great. They work with the guitar, especially. Exactly. Tom's
going off that, the moment he broke out that electric guitar, like without spoiling it, but like when he broke that out, I was sold. I was completely sold on Capaldi.
And then he pulls an axe fight joke. I'm like, okay, this is it for me.
Now, I will say, if I can add on here, I know someone who might be in the room here, not in this room, but in the room I'm physically in, who wasn't a particular fan of Capaldi. But I think that was more the writing than the actor.
Absolutely. Like, there were definitely some episodes back in Series 8, which I don't love personally, even. The moon dragon baby.
Oh, see, I loved that. I love that was such a weird episode.
That's the great thing about Doctor Who. Just because
me.
I don't like it doesn't mean other people can't, right? It's the fun campiness aspect of it that can appeal to almost anyone who's willing to accept it. Just personally for me, it wasn't for me. And then we had the forest episode where the entire planet got engulfed in forestry.
Oh, I love that one. That's one of my
See? I'm just the weird Doctor Who fan then, I guess.
No, you're good.
But yeah, no, to honestly, like, from those beautiful, heartfelt moments as well, I gotta bring up, since we have a picture of him with the guitar, him playing Clara's theme
Mm.
to canonically add her theme that
Yes.
we have been hearing since, like, what was it? Series 13. Just hearing that played on electric guitar, it still makes me cry to this day. I'll listen to it when I'm feeling low,
Aw.
and it triggers all the emotions for me. I don't know about you guys, but that one just lives rent free in my mind.
I love it so much. Just Capaldi and Clara and Capaldi, love that dynamic so much.
Best favorite Doctor Who duo.
All right, so this was my choice for one of my favorite Doctor Who episodes, and my favorite Doctor as well. I watched from season 9. You know, I started out, and I think David brought it up. Like it was hard to get through, but by the end, I was in love. And then like wait, what's happening? We're switching doctors. Like, what is this? Because I didn't know a lot about Doctor Who, so I went back and like, oh, they're gonna bring in somebody new, and I was like, who's this guy? Like, I don't know, man. First episode or second episode, I think it was a 2-parter. By the end, I was like, oh, I'm sold. This was like it for me. I was hooked for real. And then what I loved about Tennant was he was really close to like an anti-hero a lot of times.
Yeah.
In this particular
Absolutely.
episode, I think it's The Family of Blood is what it was called.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was the first time watching Doctor Who where I was like, I'm afraid of him. Like he's scary, actually. Like he could be a villain, but in a way, because he said he had mercy on these people. He's like, I was trying to let you be. I was trying to let this go down clean and clear. You guys are chasing me. You want my life essence. You want to be immortal and use me to be immortal. And I was like, I was just trying to get away from you. And they wouldn't stop. You know?
No, they would not.
They pushed him too far, and they realized that this guy, and they say it in the ending there, we thought he was running from us, but he was just trying to spare us. Because what he does to them when like they threaten they start killing people in the village they're in, and they're threatening Martha, who is a very underrated companion. She's probably a top 3 in my opinion.
Love her.
And Joan, who also, this is a heartbreaking moment too, where he gets to like live. He sees what life he could have had if he had stayed, because he becomes a human to hide from them. He sees what life he could have had if he'd stayed human, and it breaks him, and he makes them pay, and he does some awful things, some really cool things. I was like, man, that is brutal, but that's pretty cool.
That was like the creativity behind what he does was like, oh man, that is brutal.
Like they said, he wanted to live forever, so he did that. But it wasn't, like the guy had to live as a scarecrow for the rest of his life. The father was like, I forgot, he was thrown into a pit or something, chained up in some chains made in a dark star or something like that.
Yeah.
I love what he did to I don't love, it's cruel, but the little girl in the mirror, she lives in all mirrors now. Like she's stuck in there forever. And then the mother was like, I think stuck in a neutron star where she lives in like, I don't know, she lives the same like seconds over and over again or something. But
I think something like that.
I thought that was a really deep, we got a lot of depth with David Tennant in those 2 episodes, and they still stick with me today. Like I think about them all the time.
No, I think it speaks to a lot of David's strength too, as to why he's like for a lot of people, their favorite Doctor, right?
Yeah, he has a lot of range. Like he can be a lot of things. He's a really good actor, obviously. But
no, yeah.
So speaking of Tenet, this is one of my favorite Tenet episodes, and don't get me wrong, like I said to Tony earlier, the capabilities that the show has, from going to scary to campy to so and so, this is one of those fun ones. This is the Unicorn and the Wasp. And for those of you who don't know, the young lady that is right here in the brown flapper dress, that's Agatha Christie. Like, hey, if we're going to do something, let's pick a historical figure. Yes, we've seen all sorts of other ones, but I mean, to just pull an author out of time to do an episode, like, and I know I don't have a picture for it, but Tony mentioned, the Vincent Van Gogh episode. I should have picked that one too. I can watch that last scene and just go, and I will cry every single time.
I'm only watching it on TikTok, and I get emotional watching it.
Also, the actor that they got for that was just, spot on.
Yes.
But again, it just, like I said, it just comes back to the fact that the capability that the show has to be able to write fun, campy episodes, or ones that are like, okay, here's someone in history, and we're going to turn your literal character who writes murder mysteries into the whole episode of a murder mystery. So for me, this is just one of those prime examples of, hey, this is some of the potential that you get watching this show.
Very
Next
quick
slide.
shout out to Felicity Jones in the front there, by the way. Completely forgot she was in this episode.
Oh, and
Little bit of Jyn
that's the other thing too. What you got to love about all these, BBC actors that are, actors that you saw in the series have now gone on. Like for me, I know Tony said about all the actors that have gone on to things. For me, I was extremely happy to see Alex Kingston come onto the show because I watched her, because I'm old, on ER back in the day in the 1900s.
Yeah.
There are so many Star Wars actors that show
There
up in
are.
Doctor Who.
Yes.
I mean, even David Tennant now, he's in Star Wars in Ahsoka.
Yes.
Right?
And he was in Marvel under Jessica Jones.
Oh my God. Can I just quickly say, like, I watched Doctor Who first before Jessica Jones came out.
Yeah.
I cannot remove David Tennant from Kilgrave. He still horrifies me. Watching the 15th Doctor, like, this recent year, I still see the Kilgrave.
But then he can be Scrooge McDuck. He can be Scrooge McDuck.
Thank you.
And Scrooge McDuck, yeah.
Excellent Scrooge McDuck.
All right, we're going to go to the next slide here.
This one's me. So on the flip side, this is one of the first big Matt Smith episodes, who for me is my doctor. I know a lot of people in the States go Tennant because he had such a large range. For me, it's Matt Smith. Simply because you see in Matt Smith the fun, campy, the childhood naivete that he can bring to it. But he can turn right on a dime to that vengeful, war-torn veteran who has seen shit, And with what I saw and what I got out of this particular episode is that I will say I had a very tumultuous 20s, and I had a lot of rage, and I get angry very easily still to this day. My wife, who's across the room, can attest to it if I don't keep myself in check. So this episode where he just lets it all go because he wants to try and save everybody, and he puts himself first, but with his own rage and the hurt and the pain and the anguish that he's experienced over all the years. That's it for me. And then, you're coming off of the whale spaceship,
Yeah.
This one's mine. I can listen to that song over and over and over. The little girl
right
singing.
now.
I have it playing in my head as we speak.
Exactly. So this is one of the big moments where Matt Smith really made it for me. And at the same time, he was a smart ass. I mean, think about his the 11th hour when he was putting his clothes on together and says, is this planet safe? Is this, basically run.
Yeah, no,
He literally
have
just said,
that
"F
music
around and
playing
find
now
out."
in my head, by the way. His theme, oh my God, it's so good.
And interestingly enough, when my wife and I, when we had our procession into our reception for our wedding, it was the BBC Wales Channel 4 version of the Doctor Who theme.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So would you say like Reigns of Akhenaten has your favorite Doctor Who moment though, Tom?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always varying. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
There's so many.
Never
Exactly.
heard that before.
Yeah, right. So I'd say it's in my top 5. We'll put it that way.
Fair.
Ooh.
Oh.
So on the flip to it, we've talked about emotional episodes. We've talked about fun, campy episodes. Another great thing that the Doctor does so well is scary.
The horror.
The Weeping Angels were supposed to be like a one-off. It was also possibly even a backdoor pilot for Sally Sparrow, which never did happen, but that's okay. But the impact that the Angels have had, and they've used it almost, just as a plot device over the next few seasons, just as, oh, hey, we need something, throw an angel in. And then they've adapted the lore and everything, and how they're quantum locked. And if you're looking at them, they don't move. But then, later we got the whole idea of the angel inside Amy's head because she was imagining it, because that which holds the image of an angel becomes an angel.
Yeah. I
So,
would
I
like
mean-
to quickly add on too. Blink is the highest rated Doctor Who episode of all time.
Season 3, episode 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And then how they figure out how to stop it. Oh well, four of them around it, then they're out. It really is just such a great episode to introduce such a great villain, and also just to give you probably some of the best jump scares in Doctor Who come from these particular characters. And what's interesting, if you guys didn't know, you guys probably know, but anybody else who's not watching or new to watching Who, they got dancers to be able to do these character actors or the characters of the angels, because they just have to have that perfect
that stillness,
posture to do the everything.
Yeah. No, what's even funnier to me is that Stephen Moffat came up with the idea of the angels because he was walking to work one day, saw the angels, and then the next day they were just gone. So the fact that they came from such a basic ass situation in life, I love it. I love it.
I love Stephen Moffat.
Same, man.
That's like such simple stuff where it's like it's this, and then I love when he became the showrunner, and it's like the River Song was introduced, and the storyline, the way he weaves storylines together, and the way he really, like, when the Doctor needed his friends the most, they were there. But also that doesn't mean you're going to win the way you think you're going to win. Just subdirection and subversion. I love Stephen Moffat's writing.
He's a great writer. I love him.
Let's move along, Tony.
I'm out.
Yes. Okay, so this one's me. Look, considering how short of a tenure Christopher Eccleston had as the Ninth Doctor, this is the moment that I fell in love with Doctor Who. It was the empty child, and it was just the moment he goes, just this once. Everybody lives, Rose.
Yes.
It's this genuinely, and this was also written by Stephen Moffat, mind you, as we were just talking about it.
With Jack Hartnett's
Such an excellent story, and oh my god, talking about favorite Doctor Who moments. This is definitely top 5. Occasionally, sometimes even just number 1 if I'm in like a happy mood and I just want to feel good, But just briefly, even talk about Christopher Eccleston. Like I said, 1 season, man made an impact, and he's recently come back for audiobooks, and it makes me so hopeful that he could come back for more one day, because like he was supposed to originally be the War Doctor in the 50th anniversary, but since they couldn't get him back, they then came up with, we'll just make the War Doctor separate. We'll bring in John Hurt. Could have been a really interesting opportunity if he was the Doctor who pressed the button, right?
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
His quote at that one con made me sad. He was like, I looked at the script, and when I passed on it to see what they came up with, he was like, they always end up making better ideas when I'm not in them. I was like, no.
That man beats himself up too much. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
No, but he deserves all the love. But yeah.
So much love.
Ooh.
The library.
Love it.
So
Hey, who turned out the lights?
again, it comes down to the fact that, see, now for me, the library ran that fine line of creepy, spooky, fun, and run, because let's be honest, it was Tenet. It's funny, actually, most of the ones I picked were all Tenet, even though I say Matt Smith's my doctor. But again, we're here to convince Tony, he who is not on the screen, why you should be watching.
Listening.
Yeah, and
It's the voice.
We'll quiz you later.
just with this villain alone, when like you could tell that they're terrifying, that they're dangerous, but Tennant still goes, I'm the doctor, we're in a library, look me up, and they just kind of retreat like, oh, we'll give you a day.
I love that moment. But also, like, this is the first time we're also introduced to River Song. Were we about to say the same thing there?
Probably. You go ahead.
I was just yeah, no, this is the first time we're also introduced to River Song, who is
Yes.
such an iconic part of Doctor Who's lore, right? And
Makes a
we
huge
won't
impact later on.
spoil what happens in this because we know Tony's gonna watch Doctor Who now.
Yes, of course.
But-
Well, let's steer away from that and
Hold
just
on,
talk about
for a
the
second.
whole.
We have somebody that's kind of like it's come in and commandeered. I want to throw somebody else in here real quick, just for the sake.
Is it Will?
Who the-
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
I don't
Hi,
know
Will.
even know if I don't even know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
We can hear
No,
you.
sing,
Awesome.
sing once again to me with that strange duet.
Right?
So if you don't
Your
know,
power
Will had a little bit
overtaking
of
the
a
stream
spill.
is stronger yet.
Will had a
Yeah,
little bit of a
d-
spill chasing after his dogs, and so he 3D printed the Phantom of the Opera mask to cover up the scars on his face.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, it's just to try and make this already unattractive mess just a little more attractive. And I mean what we're normally working with, not what you don't see. I mean, the long story short is that I found out that asphalt diving is not actually a sport, so that's good to know. And the part of the body least productive in breaking the fall is probably the left side of your face. So yeah, I printed this up to cover it up. I also have a Kyle Rayner inspired Green Lantern
I was
mask.
gonna ask, do you want me to throw on a mask so that you don't feel singled out?
No, not at all. Not at all. Actually, it doesn't look too bad now. I've been, I got a bandage on, but I thought this would be quirky and cute. And I'm sorry to just like jump into the conversation because I didn't quite hear it, but I had to be a part of it because Doctor Who, I am a Nuvian, I'll admit, but I still desperately loved this show, and even at its worst, I want to love it. And when it's at its best, I absolutely adore it. So I just had to be a part of it. But allow me to now just kind of slip back into the stream so I can gauge the consciousness and hopefully, from a hotel room, no less, bring a little insight from my side as well.
We'll be sure to shout you out.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It is good seeing you though, Will, for the record.
Heck yeah, man.
It is.
Thanks. Now that I've brought things to a grinding halt, what were we talking about?
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were at the hop off or not for a moment.
So I was trying to explain to Tony the whole fact that, what the best part I love about Who is that how you can tell a different story. We've talked about scary episodes. We've talked about fun episodes. We've talked about emotional episodes, that it just gives you the whole range that you get. It's not just a one-trick pony to Tony.
That is very, very true. Unless you're talking about a lot of the Russell T. Davis driven stories, but let's ignore that for now.
So what you guys have been saying that's been most appealing, and I'm going to throw my face back up here just for a minute, since Will can do it, I can do it.
It's a nice face.
It's a good face.
What I found most interesting is I'm compelled to watch the show, one, because of what it's kind of like the group, it's a positive peer pressure. Like I really want to be a part of this conversation. I want to know what's going on, and I realize it's something that I've not delved into, and I didn't realize that people that I care about, this team, absolutely love it, and for the fact that you guys like it, I want to know more about it. I will say the little bits and pieces I've seen, the Van Gogh episode, I think there was I even saw parts with Jodie Whittaker with the what was it, the Rosa Parks episode, that makes its way through TikTok a lot. Those, and then of course, one thing that I've noticed that you guys like, you're talking about a whole lot of stuff. Where did it go? It disappeared. Never mind. I had a picture and it was gone. But like the thing that I know of, the big bad, was always the Daleks, and you guys didn't even mention to bring that up in the slideshow. But
That's for the
idea that there are different genres within this, that it's not every episode is a cookie cutter of the next. A lot of fatigue sometimes happens with shows. I love Smallville, but a lot of Smallville can be the same thing over and over again. And you have to kind of, it's a labor of love at a certain point where you just have to kind of keep trudging through and hoping it gets better. But it really does sound like there are many opportunities for you to just be experiencing something completely different. And I think that's the most exciting thing for me as an outsider wanting to get in.
And let me tell you something else, Tony, too, because it is genius in the fact that it is a show that is ongoing yet can be almost anthology in a way if it weren't for these same characters. But the thing that you have to realize with this show, okay, uh, it is, first of all, continuity nerds love it, both for the callbacks to the original run and kind of what's been cooking now. The other great thing about this series is that you get the right writer writing the right things, and you can literally have a moment like I've had, because I came into this in the Matt Smith era. I powered through all of the reboot until Matt Smith's regeneration. By the end of that first season, I'm weeping because a woman is saying something we've heard a million times, something borrowed, you know what I mean? Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. So much so that I was just weeping in my family room the other day thinking about it because a goddamn cop show was having a wedding.
Is it the rookie?
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, was it the rookie?
I
Hell
love the
yeah!
Rookie.
Oh yeah.
Love that show.
Daddy cop got me bad, y'all.
Okay, so that's 2 episodes in a row of fandoms where we've referenced Rookie. So I don't
That's a
know. I
win
don't
in my
even know.
book.
Now I have to watch it.
I love it so
tweeting.
much.
It's good cop drama, honestly.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I mean, the only thing about it that I will say, not to get off who, but like one thing I will say in powering through it, that it does like, wait a minute, Homeboy is a rookie and now we're in a third world nation doing what? So, it kind of, it does fall into the trap of how do we one up our critical things.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's amazing to watch. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Moving on.
Okay, this was me, and I love, like, there are things about each Doctor that I love, so I can't really pick a favorite. But I feel like I need to defend Jodie with my life because she's like one of the most polarizing Doctors. But if you give her a chance, if you look at her as just the Doctor and the characters and the companions that she has, she's phenomenal. And there are some there are some standout episodes. I think one of my favorites is Kablam. Basically, the villain is Amazon, like space Amazon,
Yeah.
and it's so good.
That was a fun episode. I did enjoy that one.
The thing I will say about Whitaker that I will probably go to my dying day saying, which is right doctor, wrong time.
Yeah.
I think in a different showrunner's hands.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's the showrunner's fault, not Jodie's.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm a Power Ranger guy, so trust me, I understand.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. And scene.
No, honestly, like Jodie gets so much hate, but like if you can get past some of the
Look at that.
the
It's Sheffield Steel.
questionable writing and choices, Jodie is such an astonishing actor, and I understand why they casted her as the Doctor. She's just phenomenal.
Yeah, post Broadchurch, she was, I mean, this was her. This is what really projected her.
She absolutely won me over. I think it was Comic-Con 2018. Like Thursday or Friday in Hall H was a panel you could easily get into, but it was basically like Entertainment Weekly's Women of Hollywood Focus or something, Women of Entertainment. I can't remember what exactly it was, but she was part of that panel and she said something that resonated with me so much because she was reacting to being asked, well, what is it like being the first female Doctor? And her take was, it isn't anything because the Doctor's an alien. So what do I know what it means for the Doctor to be one gender or another? It doesn't, because that's their reality, not mine. And I was like, wow, that was way more profound for the show with villains with plungers on their arms.
Originally claws.
Yeah,
they were originally claws.
So moving on to another Doctor, which I think has been the most compelling for me to want to get into it.
Hey,
He's great. He's so good.
He's wonderful. Just from the 1.5 episode really
Yeah.
that we've gotten him in,
It's all I need.
already stamped his mark on the Whovian world.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
I'm
new
down.
season comes out on my birthday. I'm so
Good.
excited.
Does it
It's like a
actually?
birthday gift. Yes, May 11th is my birthday. It's coming out that day.
It was made for you, Nico. It was
It was.
specifically for you.
They saw the cosplay. They were like, "Yeah, yes, drop it."
Can I just take a moment to say the real reason why I rigged all of this up from a hotel room was because there was no way I was not going to be on screen with Nico. I just want that
I
to be known.
will.
This man has saved me from death
Let me
many
help you with that,
times,
Will. There
y'all.
you go.
I would like to quickly say though, his sonic screwdriver, I think I like it now. Honestly,
Hey.
after that one Christmas special, I kind of like it.
It's the most ergonomic, and if TiVo taught us anything, it's that the ergonomic shape of the peanut is perfect for anything you're going to usually use, like a remote.
Okay,
Yeah.
so explain something for me, you guys. The
Mhm.
sonic screwdriver. Like I was talking about this today because I'm getting into a show that I know barely anything about. I had this epiphany where I'm like, I know why Harry Potter was such a success, because Doctor Who is basically the technological version of Harry Potter in a sense. Like the sonic screwdriver is his magic wand, and you can't tell me otherwise unless you guys can tell me otherwise. Like,
Oh, Tony, that's exactly what the writers have said. It was, we need to keep the story moving. So the doctor comes to a locked door. He needs to just have the door unlocked. That's what the sonic screwdriver is.
And mind
But
you,
it's also a
it was
great,
originally a pen.
it's also a great ongoing joke.
It is. But I will say, like, those moments where the Doctor doesn't have the Sonic, though, are some of the best moments as well. Like, as we've seen in, was it Wild Blue Yonder? Just him not having his Sonic was such an amazing episode where you had to see the Doctor work everything out within his mind just to do everything and see that ADHD nature within him pretty much.
Like
There's a reason why that was my favorite special.
so
I'm partial to 15 showing up.
Yeah.
So of all the Doctors, we know the Doctors can come back. The Doctors can team up at certain points. Are there any companions that you guys would love to see come back to the series?
Absolutely not. No.
New episode, part 2.
I was gonna say that would be a good part 2 because the companions themselves deserve an entire episode dedicated to themselves.
And don't get me wrong, they've had the companions come back and have already done cameos in several times. I don't know if I would really want to have a companion come back for a longer stint than maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, let's have them serve their purpose as them being back and as a plot device that makes sense in the story. That's what I would prefer.
I was also going to say, like,
sorry, Johnny. I was just going to say, if there's a unit spin-off show,
that would be dope.
You're going to see
that
them
would be
all
a
the
perfect
time.
place. But I mean, even with that, like, we now have that show where the companions of old of Classic Who have come back. We've seen the Doctors themselves back as well, but in like an older form. So the possibility is there as well for them to have their own independent stories, to in some way continue certain narratives that may not have been finished originally in Classic Who. What's it called? I think it's called like Adventures in the TARDIS or something.
Moments, Adventures in the TARDIS.
Yeah. So the potential of having companions return, especially with characters like Martha, who was honestly done a little bit dirty, to have them have somewhat of a satisfying conclusion, to have them have more material to show us more as to why they should be so loved, it's there. They just need to honestly take the shot.
And then we got River, and I mean, that's just a whole kettle of fish right there.
River,
or else my wife would have struck me down once we got off this podcast because it's her favorite Doctor Who character. And honestly, this is one of the things that we bond over, especially when it comes to her relationship with the 11th Doctor, or Matt Smith. their whole dynamic. She melts every time Matt Smith looks at her a certain way. Like it's her favorite thing in the world, and like I enjoy watching her watch that. And I got to meet Alex at a con one time, and she was the sweetest person to me. I told her how beautiful she was, and she said, "Flattery will get you everywhere." And she,
I gotta meet her.
yeah, I had her sign my my 8x10 with her, and I got her to write "Hello, Sweetie" up there for my wife, and she added spoilers in there. I was like, "Thank you so much, sir." So she's a wonderful person, and River Song, every episode she's in is probably
steals it.
Highlight.
amazing.
I especially love Husband of River Song, especially.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's amazing how well. First of all, it was so nice that they were both able to have the character's story completely told for the Matt Smith era, and then they found an effective way to bring her back in the Capaldi area. One which, again, that episode, there's a moment where technically we find out she's stretching for time, but there's a moment she's monologuing about something, and I'm getting just as worked up as she is, and that then leads to one of the best comedic moments I've seen on television.
So, Mickey, I'm going to throw this out here for you since your wife swoons over Matt Smith. I dare you to find on the internet the original promo pictures of Matt Smith.
Okay.
And I'm talking Goth Smith.
Oh, that should be interesting. Are we talking like Morbius goth or?
So the original, just a quick
Orphan
show of hands. Have anybody actually seen these pictures besides me?
I have not.
I have not.
No, but I'm gonna
Okay.
Google it.
So when Matt Smith originally came out, they really wanted to turn the tide from Tennant, and like he had a trench coat and like the big old emo hair, like, like welcome to the
I see it.
Black
No, I
TARDIS
found
parade.
it.
You found it?
I found
It was hard for a while to find.
Honestly, like it's kind of a mood, like with the black
Mhm.
shirt. I dig it. I
Yes.
dig it.
Anyhow,
Brooding.
very.
I just put in goth Matt Smith doctor.
Yay to the internet.
Right?
Guys, thanks for letting me just rudely drop in, but this effective gag on my face is also shoving the bandage into my eye, so I think it's time for me to wrap it up. But honored to have been a part of this with all of you. Again, my apologies for just bursting in.
No,
I mean, we're
so
gonna have an
glad to have
episode
you.
2 and
Great
episode
having
3
you.
now, probably maybe an episode 4.
Awesome.
We got time.
We got
Yeah, it sounds like this is
Yeah,
going to be,
all
and
the
especially
time,
once
right?
I start watching the show, we're going to come back and do a recap, like of where I'm at and how I
We
feel.
should
and
do
that'd
like
be
a
fun.
weekly check-in, I think.
That'll be
with
fun.
Tony.
Yeah, we've got 60
I
years.
smell a new
and
show.
We're good.
And then we have like 3 TV show spin-offs. We got Sarah Jane Adventure, Class, Torchwood.
Torchwood.
Talking who? Let's do this.
This
Yeah.
last slide,
Yeah.
this last slide causes anxiety because I remember some of these faces from when I saw who on,
yeah.
on public television as a kid.
Oh man.
And that's okay.
Mhm.
But this one I also picked because, again, you know, it honors the legacy, because this was when Jodie Whittaker had regenerated, and inside she was having these feelings of, and this, you know, and her previous selves were coming back. And big shout out to Hartnell for coming in here and taking the place of the first Doctor. Like, yeah, as much as he was the janitor at Hogwarts, he has
Yep.
killed it.
No,
He's
he
good.
is the
As
first
the
Doctor.
Doctor.
To me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's also that small spin-off, Adventures in Space and Time, which was talking about the production side of trying to get the first episode of Doctor Who out, and how we've seen how he would look into the future. And they did Matt Smith, and then they redid it again with Shooty, which
And
I
we
think
even
was
see
great.
the Master pop up in it briefly too, as one of the
Yeah.
like production executives or something like that.
So it's fantastic. I've had the pleasure of meeting right above me, 7.
Oh, no, not Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of meeting Sylvester McCoy. Me and my wife, we met him down at a con outside Philly years ago, and he was just the sweetest guy to talk to. Actually, no, both of them were there, weren't they, honey? Brett? She's got earphones in too. But no, they're both of them to wear, and I was not familiar because they weren't on my PBS back in Philly at home. But a friend of mine was like, "Oh my God, you got to get the thing." So I got them, and they were just nice to talk to.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
No, I think all of the Doctor, like all the actors who have portrayed the Doctor, are honestly some really nice people from what I hear and understand from fan experiences. So,
and then we've got poor old 8 over there who has. Let's give him his flowers just simply for the fact
his
that he has done
audiobooks are
so-
absolutely amazing too.
Oh my God.
I'm loving them.
and he's
great.
half human on his mother's side too. Just saying.
Exactly. No, but like very
Fox
quickly
tried
as well,
so
though.
hard. Fox
Yeah.
tried so hard, but he
Which
probably
is funny
still,
because
to me,
now Disney
has the-
owns Fox and Doctor Who's with Disney Plus.
Yeah, but I would love to see another interpretation of the TARDIS at some point, like his.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
it was so big and grand. It's like this.
It was
Now this
lived
is
in.
really bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
I still wanna
I
see
also
the
have a
tour.
quick little fun fact though. Paul McGann and Sylvester McCoy, they keep a tally of every single time a Scottish actor gets
Scottish
casted as the
Doctor.
Doctor. So they'll
Oh, shit, he got
message
cast. One more Scotch.
Colin Baker and then them just like, we got another one.
Well, sometimes they have an accent like he's from the north. Well, everywhere there's a north. Hey, I like that picture too.
Yeah, do I.
So, what do you think, Tony? You finally convinced?
Do you have any
Yeah,
questions?
so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I think I've just been waiting for the right moment to do it, and it's let's face it, TikTok, you get encouraged to watch a lot of things. For whatever reason, I was inspired to watch Jupiter Ascending again because clips of it was going online, and I immediately regretted it. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to let TikTok govern something. And then, of course, Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets then started showing up. And I'm like, I'll watch that again. And then I completely regretted it. So I'm trusting you guys.
Rebel Moon.
So I saw Rebel Moon. TikTok video. So which Doctor should I start with? What again, you guys have talked about 12th Doctor, 11th Doctor, all of this other stuff. There's
I agree with
different
Johnny.
series, different seasons. Like, where do I start?
I mean, okay, so Tony, do you want to just start from the beginning, or do you want to be shown an episode that'll just kick the door down and go like, okay, this is the vibes of Doctor Who. I think I can get behind this. Let's start from the very beginning now.
Let's face it. I am the kind of guy, like, I would like to start where it's where I can like kind of build up and appreciate all of the stuff that you guys have been talking about, and then go from there. I mean, listen,
Nice.
I've binged Fairy Tale. I've binged lots of different animes. So what are we saying? We're saying the 9th?
Then
Nine.
start with Series 1, the 9th Doctor,
Yeah.
Episode 1, titled Rose.
Rose.
Yep.
And just
The Road.
power
Okay.
through, okay? Because like I remember 3 episodes in, I was like, I'm not watching this, and I turned it up for like a month. I was like, I ain't watching this, and I came
Just-
back, and I finished it, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Tony, just promise me this: when you're doing it, if you're gonna get to a certain point and call it quits, get past episode 10.
Okay.
I'll say for me, when it comes to Eccleston, I can very clearly remember, as if it was yesterday, how many years ago I was in my apartment in San Diego, had a nice cup of tea and a soda, putting it on my little box that I was using as a coffee table. I was there. I was into it because it's what they did, because production and everything, they had to be campy. They had to do all the stuff that you had that was a connection to me, to the old series that I would watch on Saturday afternoon, my grandmother's house when I got shoved off over there. So for me, that's what really hooked me back into Who, is that it's like, oh, they're not throwing all the money at it. Cool.
Yeah. I'm really gonna have to work on the Eccleston thing, because I saw him in Gone in the remake of Gone in 60 Seconds. I saw him as
Malekith the
Deathstroke
Accursed
in the G.I. Joe movie.
Oh,
And so I haven't had a lot of good experiences with him. Matt Smith, the only experience I've had with him is Morbius. So
Oh no!
so I will
Not
I
even
will try to-
Terminator?
I
Not
will
even
try
House
to
of the
refresh
Dragon?
my palette with them, and go with that. So okay. So the Rose,
Series 1, Episode 1. Series
Just-
1, not season 1.
Yeah.
We're now
one.
getting 2 of. Don't worry about
I
it.
will.
Just
I will look
series-
this up. And what I'll do is I'll keep you guys posted. But you guys, can you promise me that you'll come back to talk about companions?
Absolutely.
technology,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that?
Companions,
we'll talk about
villains,
themes, we'll talk
tech,
about every single
characters.
doctor.
Absolutely. And let me just tell you, this has
Showrunners.
been a good episode. We've been holding strong with 24 viewers throughout all of the different outlets, which is great. Which has been really good because it's been crazy since the beginning of this year. So you guys have definitely been entertaining enough for people to watch. And I'm learning a lot, so I'm ready to jump into Doctor Who, and give it a try.
Honestly, for any of the 24 viewers, they should just submit questions and then we can answer them as well. I'm sure us
Well,
nerds can answer
there are
them.
24 quiet viewers because I even threw in the chat there, like, what's your favorite doctor or favorite moment? And nobody replies. And I know it's not just us, like with the wrestling channel and stuff, like the wrestling show. Like Rich will throw out ideas for like questions and people just don't reply. Let's face it, us nerds, we don't always like to jump in like you guys at the beginning and just start talking or communicating. And again, this is a safe space. So if you're comfortable just watching, we love you for that. If you ever want to jump in, listen, none of these guys are going to bite except for maybe Tom over here. But if he does, because it's the playful bite.
I'll talk to anybody.
Oh, that kind of bite.
Rare. But we are just past an hour. Is there anything you guys want to like say before we get off? Anything special that you want to kind of just point out? You've got just a moment to say anything else.
Make sure to tune back in tomorrow at 11 o'clock to make sure to see me doing my Power Ranger panel.
Yes. Yes.
Can't
Make
wait
sure
till you get your
we've
first
got
Sonic, Tony.
Tom. What's that?
Yeah, that's how
Can't
you
wait
know
till you
you've
get
fallen
your
down
first
the Doctor
Sonic.
Who hole.
You don't need this. many.
I now own more sonic screwdrivers and lightsabers, which is a big thing for me.
Hey, I just got my first lightsaber, so well, not my first. I had one before I gave it away, but now I've got my first like NeoPixel, which I'm excited about. So yeah, Level Up Lightsabers hooked me up, and or Level Up Sabers hooked me up.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful for that.
Better than
But with
Master
that,
Allen?
I regret not getting that. Yes, Mr. Allen, we met him, and also kind of did an interview with him. We'll be posting that video soon. But for those of you who are here, we just remind you, please be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you can get more information about Nerd Initiative. Make sure you follow these guys, Nico, David, Jonathan, Mickey, and off the cuff Tom.
We're just pointing at everybody.
Be sure to come back for that Power Rangers panel. It's going to be awesome. Also, if you're going to be in the Richmond area and you're going to be at GalaxyCon, go look up Hops Geek News, if not just to be at their panel, but to see them because they're amazing people. I can tell you right now.
Cheers to them.
Matt's so much fun. Love the guy. Be sure to check out our merch store. Helps keep the lights on. Will was in here. You can always check out his show, Netheads. And then remember, you can always check us out along with our wrestling show,
From the top rope.
Turn a Page, which yes. And let's see here. What
I
else?
know
can we
those
throw up
guys.
there?
That's me.
Oh, and if you guys don't know, we do actually get money if you buy a Lego set through us. And of course, with X97 coming out, follow that QR code. It'll get you to the Lego site, but it'll also make sure we get credit for the purchase.
That is
And
good
that
to know because I
definitely-
need to buy some Star Wars sets.
Let me know which ones you're looking for. I can send you the link.
The Tantive 4?
Yeah.
There we go.
Tantive, but yeah, it's fine.
And this
I'm
doesn't
fine
do
with my
anything
Doctor
for
Who
us, but I want to let you guys be aware of this. If you are a Lego fan, like I am, if you go to Walmart, and I don't know if this was for you, Johnny, but if you go to Walmart right now, there are actually Lego sets that are on discount on clearance by Walmart. In front of, I asked Lego cannot set the prices at Walmart, so you can go check them out. I actually have the tiger with the butthole.
Love it. We love the butthole tiger.
Yeah. I got that. It's normally like what, 60 or 80 bucks. I got it for 40.
Here's the thing though, Tony.
No, I got it
You
for
forget.
20.
I'm
It
in
was $40 worth of
Canada. We don't have that deal right now. I just got back from from Walmart myself. I bought a copy of the Marvels on Blu-ray.
But also, if you're there, they also have the Star Wars, the Cody head, the bust on discount as well. So be sure to check those things out.
So if you're not in Canada, Walmart's got Lego on sale.
But let's go ahead and do one more time. Let you guys plug your stuff in. Mickey, go for it.
Cell phone, wallet, keys. everywhere, especially on Nerd Initiative. Come talk to me sometime.
Also, you can find him on The Real Study with
Also on The Real
the
Study.
movie reviews on Sunday nights. Jeez, I almost messed that up. David, go.
I am Xanatos1138 on all social platforms. I am almost at 5K on TikTok, so if you follow me, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Get him to 5K before TikTok gets shut down, y'all.
Yes, Johnny.
I am Marvelous Johnny everywhere on my socials. Just make sure you put Marvelous with 2 L's because, like I said, I'm Canadian and we use 2 L's here pretty much.
Yes, and when he writes articles and he says color, he says COLOUR. So.
Oh, do you want me to spell center for you too, where I go
Color.
RE?
Listen, I
Color.
just replaced all of those when you did your articles. That's okay.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Nico, go.
Nico Skywalker on TikTok, Skywalker Nico on Instagram, the Sonic screwdriver collector.
Yes, which he needs to get the next one. And then of course, last and certainly not least, Tom, go.
Hi, I'm Tom. You can find me on Nerd Initiative. But in the meantime, you can check me out on Turn Page every single Tuesday night, 8 p.m. right here on the Nerd Initiative. In the meantime, make sure to check out all these wonderful, fine friends of mine. Go to their websites, click the things, do the likes, do the things. Trust me, I can keep doing this all the time. So again, to everybody out there in Cyberland, always a pleasure.
And we will see you guys